the decreasing order of nucleophilicity among the following nucleophiles. These are basically the 4 nucleophiles, and if we see in these 4, it would be better if we go systematic wise. Like, first of all, let us compare the nucleophilicity of 1 and 2, because generally what happens is sometimes you get the kind of questions where you do not have to solve the entire question. You just solve 1 or 2 options and all the rest of the options get eliminated. So generally it would be preferable, or this is basically a trick for solving objective questions, where you should not solve the entire question. For example, in questions like these, if you're able to see what are the options and which have to be compared first, if you compare only 2 of them, you'll get that the last 3 options, or one of the 3 options, or 3 of the 4 options gets eliminated by themselves. So it would be preferable to go systematic wise and try to use those who you are very sure of. Like, for example, let us do this question. It is asking about nucleophilicity. Nucleophilicity. Now, what do you mean by nucleophilicity? Nucleophilicity is basically the ability to attack an electrophile or a positively charged ion, right? So that means it should have more negative charge. More negative charge, same thing we had seen earlier in basicity, right? Basicity. What was basicity? It was basically the availability of lone pair of electrons, or the availability of negative charge, right? So that means more basic the character, more will be the nucleophilicity, right? So in these two, if we compare, let us see what is the first nucleophile, CH3, C double bond O, O minus. Here what we can see is that this negative charge can resonate or delocalize with the C double bond O adjacent to it. So that means it can have 2 resonating structures. If this charge can move, that means this charge is not easily available, right? Because it can resonate and it is moving, it is not available here permanently. While in the second one, we see that CH3 O minus, here CH3 is doing what? It is having plus I effect. That means it is increasing the number of electrons even more, right? Electron density even more. So that means obviously this should be more nucleophilic as compared to the first nucleophile, right? So rather than coming to the rest of the 2, first of all let us see the options, right? In A, so that means basically what? Second should be more nucleophilic as compared to 1, right? So that means in A, second is more than 1. This can be one of the options. Second is more than 1. This can also be one of the options. In third, second is more than 1. This can also be one of the options. However, in D, if we see 1 is more than second, so that means definitely D is not the correct option. So we have eliminated the D option, right? So we did not check the rest of the things for the D option. Now we are left with only 3 options, A, B and C, right? Now let us first of all come to fourth. In fourth, what is the nucleophile? This is CH3 PH S double bond O O minus. This negative charge can resonate with this oxygen atom, the first oxygen atom, and this negative charge can also resonate with the second oxygen atoms. That means it will have 3 resonating structures. One will be CH3PH S O minus double bond O. This is one resonating structures, and the other will be CH3PH S double bond O, and the second resonating, this will be the third. So it is having 3 resonating structures, while one first nucleophile was having only 2 resonating structures, right? So that means second will be more nucleophilic, first will be more nucleophilic as compared to fourth, because in fourth this negative charge is even more delocalized, or it having more resonating structures. So that means the order should be somewhere like this. It should be fourth, right? So this should be fourth. Now third can lie anywhere between. It can be up before second, it can be between second and one, it can be between first and fourth, and it can be after fourth also, right? So if we see the options, the correct order should be second greater than 1 greater than fourth. In the B, second greater than 1 greater than fourth. This can also be correct. But in C, fourth is more than second, which is definitely wrong. So that means we have eliminated another option, right? We have eliminated another option. So we are left with only two options, A and B, right? Now, as a student, if you are able to reach up to this question, right, up to this point where you are left with only two options, right? If you are left with only two options, that means you have 50%, even if you make a guess, right? After reaching this thing, if you make a guess, you have a 50% chance of making the correct answer, right? I call these kind of guesses as educated guesses, right? These will be called as educated guesses, and it is recommended from Zion tutorials that if you are able to come to these conclusions where you are left with only two options, you do make guesses, right? You do make guesses, not the guesses, but the educated guesses, where you are definitely sure that one of the correct answer is from A or B, right? Because let us see, if you reach down to two options in 4 questions, let us suppose, right? And out of the 4, let us assume you're able to get only 1 correct and 3 are incorrect. For 1 correct, you will be getting plus 4 marks, and for 3 incorrect, you will be getting minus 3, and so eventually the total is plus 1. So you are actually obtaining 1 mark more, which is actually very beneficial, because otherwise you would have left the question. These 4 questions you would have left, and what marks you would have secured? You would have secured 0 marks, but here you are securing plus 1 mark. But let us suppose if you are lucky that day and you are able to get 2 correct or 3 correct or all of the 4 correct, how many more marks you are getting? If you are getting even 2 correct, you are getting plus 8 and minus 2. How much marks are extra? Plus 6, which is a huge numbers. Plus 6, gaining plus 6 more will take your rank somewhere else. Plus 6, and even if you get 3 correct, that means how much? Plus 12 and minus 1 plus 11 will be an entirely different rank, entirely different, I'm telling you, right? So I recommend making educated guesses, not just the guesses out of ABCD. It should be educated guesses. If you're able to come down to 50% probability, you have to make the guesses, right? Now let us come to the question. We have to see the nucleophilicity of third now, right? We have seen first, second and third. First, second and fourth. Now let us come to third. So what is this? This is basically C triple bond N, and minus is on the carbon atom, right? Now if we compare second and third, now there is no resonance in this structure, right? So that means negative charge is available on carbon atom only, right? So it is obvious that first and fourth will be less nucleophilic as compared to C triple bond N, right? First and fourth will be less nucleophilic, but A and B option are saying the same thing, because third is more nucleophilic as compared to first and fourth. Third is more nucleophilic as compared to first and fourth, right? Now only we have to check is between second and third, right? Here also second and third. If we are able to tell that which of the second and third will be more nucleophilic, we'll get the correct answer, right? Although over here I've already taught you that more electronegative the atom, more better it can accommodate the charge. That means it will be less nucleophilic, right? But over here we're having the plus I effect of CH3 group, right? Although at first instant you would be saying that this second should be less nucleophilic because oxygen is more electronegative as compared to carbon. That means on carbon negative charge is easily available for giving, right? Now, but the thing is that carbon over here is sp hybridized, right? Sp hybridized. Generally we have sp3 hybridized carbon atoms, right? Now there is another concept which says more the percentage of S character, more electronegative will be the atom, right? More electronegative will be the atom. In sp3 hybridized carbon atom, we have 25% S character. Why do we have 25% s character? Because in sp3 hybridized carbon atom we have 4 orbitals, 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals, and out of these 4 orbitals 1 is s orbitals. That means there is 25% s character, right? However, in sp hybridized carbon atom there are only 2 orbitals, 1 s and 1 p. Out of these two, 1 is s orbital. That means there is 50% s character, right? So that means sp hybridized carbon is more electronegative as compared to sp3 hybridized carbon, and in C triple bond N this carbon is sp hybridized, so that means this carbon is also electronegative, right? So generally it will become difficult for you to choose among the two effects, because CH3 is giving plus I effect, it is increasing electron density, and carbon is electronegative. So it might become difficult for you to choose that oxygen is more electronegative or sp hybridized carbon is more electronegative, right? So although the answer correct is CH3O minus, CH3O minus is more electronegative as compared to C triple bond N, just because of the plus I effect also, right? Just because although sp hybridized carbon is less electronegative than oxygen, but due to the plus I effect of CH3 it is becoming more nucleophilic, right? CH3O minus is becoming more nucleophilic, right? So that means option B is correct. However, if you do not know this concept, you could have easily seen that thing also, that generally, while if you have done a lot of questions in organic chemistry, you might have seen that generally the nucleophiles used are CH3O minus or C2H5O minus. Why are we using these nucleophiles? Because these are very nucleophilic, right? So one guess could have been made from that thing, that generally we are using these nucleophiles rather than using CN minus, right? So the correct answer is B, where second is more nucleophilic as compared to third, then comes first, then comes fourth. So basically B is the correct option.